What up, it's Dane here. In this video I'm going to be telling you how to get lean fast. Okay, so let's start off by telling you the basics of getting lean. Okay, so you want your calorie expenditure much higher than your calorie intake, and we can do this in two ways. Number one is cardio. We can increase cardio. Number two is decrease food intake, which is commonly used more often than not. That means, and that shows that increasing cardio is actually a lot harder or more taxing on your body, of course, than just decreasing the food intake. Okay, so now we know the basics of getting lean fast. Let me tell you what food you should eat and how you should actually do the cardio. Okay, so there are two ways of losing fat, right? Number one, we can do this by tracking our calories, and number two, by estimating how many calories we eat. Okay, so if you don't want to track your calories, don't worry, we can always just estimate and eat specific foods in order to get lean fast. Okay, so let's start off with tracking calories. We can track calories by using an app called MyFitnessPal. Just simply scan the foods and you should be good to go. Okay, second method is just eating foods lower in calories, and that's simply just the easiest method that we could possibly use. Okay, so to cover method number two, to give you some foods that you can consume every single day that are lower in calories, is mainly going to be vegetables. If you want to be real specific, green vegetables and fruits, right? I've never heard of someone getting fat or gaining fat on a vegetable or fruit diet. As well as this, you really want to increase your protein intake, as protein does not just repair muscle tissue, it does also provide a lot of satiety, so keep that in mind as well. Some lean sources of protein that you consume are chicken breast, make sure it's chicken breast, not thighs, turkey steaks, turkey mince, all the lean sources of meat, and of course whitefish, tuna, eggs, all these kinds of lean sources of protein. Okay, so now that I've told you more about food intake, let me tell you how many calories you need to eat per day in order to get this fat down and get lean fast. Okay, so to calculate how many calories you need per day, use this formula. 15 times your body weight in pounds, that's your calorie maintenance. That's how many calories you require per day in order to sustain everything like the bodily functions, homeostasis, stuff like this. Now once you have that final number, minus 1000, or you can minus 500. The bigger you minus that number by, the faster fat loss is going to occur. However, keep in mind, it's going to be a lot harder the bigger the number as well. One thing I have to tell you as well is this is just a rough estimate. However, that number will give you a good baseline to start off with. So if you're going to choose the method of just eating lower calorie dense foods instead of tracking your calories, then just make sure you consume loads and loads of fruit and vegetables. Therefore you don't go over your calories and start going in a calorie surplus, which actually means gaining weight. Okay, so now I've told you about food intake and how to decrease it in order to lose fat, which is just more commonly used than increased cardio, as it's a lot easier. Let's jump into cardio. Okay, so you're probably wondering, should you do fasted or fasted cardio? And I've already made videos on this, however I'll quickly tell you right now. Okay, so if you're 15 to 12% body fat, so you're kind of relatively lean already, then you should do fasted cardio. However, if you're just an average individual trying to lose fat, say 15+% body fat, and you can't see your abs at all, then I just recommend doing cardio anytime. If you want to know a specific type of cardio, what intensity, just keep it low to moderate, or you can just do high intensity, maybe 3 to 4 sessions per week. Is a good start for you, just good baseline. Now one thing I have to mention as well is when you do cardio on top of weight training, make sure you block periodize this stuff properly. What I mean by this is don't do excessive cardio and excessive weight training, because over a period of time you're just going to burn yourself out and start getting to a stage of non-functional overreaching. Okay, so now that I've told you how many calories you should roughly eat per day, all about food intake, how to decrease it by tracking your calories or just by even eating foods low in calories, and I've told you about cardio, how to increase your output, what type of cardio you should do, fasted or not, I'm going to be telling you some bonus tips right here. Okay, so before I get into the bonus tips, one thing I have to mention though, there is no such thing as a best diet. The best diet is the one that you can stick to. It could be intermittent fasting, the ketogenic diet, any diet that you can stick to is the best one. So bonus tip number one is include foods in your diet that you enjoy. Bonus tip number two is drink black coffee. Black coffee is an appetite suppressant. Research has clearly shown this, so increase black coffee intake. But when you're drinking this black coffee, don't drink it all in one go. Have regular sips throughout the day. Maybe 2 to 3 cups of coffee maximum per day should be good to go. Otherwise, your body will start becoming immune to this caffeine. Bonus tip number 3 is really increase the water intake, specifically in the morning when you start feeling that hunger sensation. That's just your body deprived of water, so really increase the water intake, and after a period of time you'll actually feel hunger being blunted as well. Tip number 4, or bonus tip number 4, is really increase the fruit intake, right? Instead of having chocolates, those kind of foods that you crave all the time, have fruit instead. Maybe fruit and honey just to sweeten your tooth, make you feel a lot better. Okay, so basically those are all the tips I have for you in order to blunt hunger and make dieting a lot easier. Actually, you know what, then I've got one more tip. Control the environment around you, meaning if there's chocolates in your house, if there's crisps, all these kind of junk food, remove it, control your environment, because you need to understand you only have a certain amount of willpower each day. Okay, that's the bonus tips finished. Now let me summarize this whole video for you. Okay, to summarize, in order to lose fat, in order to get lean fast, your calorie expenditure needs to be a lot higher than your calorie intake, right? So expenditure there, intake below it. That's fat loss in its simplest form. Now you can reduce the food intake by just simply eating low calorie dense foods like vegetables, fruits, lean sources of protein. Keep the carbohydrates at a minimum as well as fats, because healthy fats do contain more than double the amount of calories than protein and carbohydrates. Or we can track the calories. However, for some people this might be too psychologically, mentally taxing. You might not want to do that, and that's fine. You could pick a lot of other diet approach out there, like intermittent fasting, all these kinds of good things. Now cardio, I've told you if you should do fasted or not. I told you should do non-fasted cardio. In fact, it doesn't really matter if you can't see your abs already anyway. I've got more videos on that. Now food intake is, you can decrease that a lot easier than doing cardio, so I generally recommend that. And then for cardio, fasted, non-fasted, low intensity, high intensity, it doesn't really matter too much. Just get the increased cardio output and just basically expand more calories. So that's the summary of the video. Let me know if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe down below. As always, stay positive, stay smiling, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.